Hey y'all, welcome back to this week's episode of AMA Friday with Amy Miller, Recruiting in Yoga Pants. So this week we are revisiting a previous topic. We've absolutely had this conversation before about primary resumes or a main resume. You might have also heard this referred to as a master resume. It was a common term many years ago. But the idea behind this is where I am just dumping everything I've ever done, all of my work history, all of my skills, all of my accomplishments. This is like the master copy of all of the good stuff I've done. So, do I need a primary resume? Is this important? Does this do something for me in the future? I vote yes. I think this is a great opportunity to, if you've not done this in the past, please take the time to do it now. You are literally just going to dump everything. Okay? And there's a very important order of operation that we're also going to talk through. So, starts with just grabbing a blank piece of paper. Ideally, a Word doc or Pages or, some kind of electronic word processing tool here. You can write it with a pen if you want. I can't because I have injured myself and I am left-handed. So, it has not been a very fun week. I can't type. I can't write. I fell down the stairs. It's embarrassing, but I like trying to make up cool things like I fought a bear. I tripped. But anyway, so start by just throwing all the data onto this document. Everything I've done, everything I've accomplished, get your dates right, get your titles right, pull out old performance reviews if you have them, things like that, because you really just want to dump everything into this document. And that, friends, this is going to hurt. That brings us to our first step in creating this document. The first thing you want to do, man, my handwriting is bad on a good day. This is bad. You want to write. You want to just write out all the things. Do not worry about red squiggly lines. Do not worry about font size or grammar or any of that. You are just dumping all the cool stuff you've done. Now, the beauty of having this primary doc, every time you change jobs, every time you have a performance review, every time you get a promotion, you finish a project, you can go into this document that only you see and you can add to it. You can write more. And that will save you whenever you need a new resume. Who wants to start a brand new resume from scratch every time? That's terrible. That sounds like a terrible time. I don't want to do that. So take an existing resume, take, whatever you've created in the past and just start data dumping. Just throw all that good info into that document. Now, once you've done that, now we're going to go to part 2. And hopefully you're kind of honing in on, okay, good. I've got a good list of things I've done. There's some good meat to work with here. Now I'm going to start kind of cleaning it up a little bit. And so step 2, this is where writing is hard. We are going to edit that document. This is where we're now going in and cleaning up those misspelled words, making sure the grammar flows a little, right? Maybe cut those runoff sentences, those kinds of things. So now this editing portion is where we're kind of making that digestible. We're making that data that we have dumped into this document make sense, right? So we're kind of, again, just cleaning it up. Once you've done that, now you've got some data to work with. You've got a document that you can leverage for those future applications. Now, this document does not get uploaded. This primary resume, this is not the one that you are sending to your friend who's going to refer you to an open position. This is not the one that gets, sent to a recruiter who's asked for your most recent resume. This is your starting document. you've cleaned it up, you've edited it a little bit, you've got, kind of some structure around the data that you want, that you think is important for your future job. Before you send it out, one more step. You're going to format. Okay? So formatting all of this great data, all of this information that we've gone through and cleaned up, I'm now going to make it the right data structure information for the job that I'm applying to. Okay? Now, many of you know this. You follow me on LinkedIn. You've heard me talk about this before. I myself, in the last couple of weeks, have moved into a recruiting management position. Believe me, nobody's more surprised than me, okay? Maybe we'll talk about that in a future video, how this happened. I'm excited. My team is wonderful. Love them to pieces. Like super, super excited about what we're going to accomplish. So more to come on that. I really want to brag on my team in the future. But I'm now going to add that, right? I'm writing that, my new responsibilities, my new, kind of early accomplishments that I'm hopefully going to hit in the coming months. I'm going to put that on that primary resume. I'm then going to clean that up a little bit, kind of mess with not the formatting, but mess with the, the grammar, the words, make sure it all flows, it sounds good. When I'm ready to potentially apply to a new job, that's when I'm going to come in and format this. But here's the thing. I'm now a recruiting manager. Maybe 6 months from now I get laid off. Let's hope not, but it could happen. Maybe I'm actually better suited going back to an individual contributor role. I might rewrite some of the managerial stuff. I may kind of put more emphasis on my previous individual contributor or IC type work. So that's where I'm taking this primary document, I'm doing the necessary formatting and potentially re-editing to create the document that makes sense for that job application. Maybe I'm targeting manager roles. So yeah, I'm going to really put some heavy emphasis and a lot of effort into what I've done since becoming a manager and make sure those accomplishments are standing out. So that's how, by having everything in this document already, I don't have to rewrite it from scratch. I don't have to start over. I don't have to sit and stare at a blank piece of paper and a job description and try to figure out how do I make these two things fit. Nobody has time for that. We're applying to several jobs a day in some cases. I'm not going to rewrite a resume every time I got to apply for a role. That's ridiculous. But having this main document gives me the ingredients to go build this resume cake or whatever. Bad analogy. So hopefully this is tracking, because I think this is really important and where a lot of folks create more work for themselves, because they're not taking the time up front to create this doc. And so they're just rewriting everything from scratch over and over again, which is super frustrating. Now, here's the bonus tip. And here's why I wanted to update this video. How do I do this effectively with AI? I gotta be honest with y'all. I see so much advice about this prompt and that tool. And like, it feels very like Rube Goldberg machine. Like, let's put all these weird things in place and levers and pulleys and ramps and we're going to do it to get to. That's a lot of work. I am not interested in doing any extra work that is not absolutely minimum required of me. Okay. Like, let me just get done what I need to get done. And so for me, writing a resume, because I am so familiar with resumes and I know resumes, I'm just going to go write it and clean it up and make it nice and send it out. But we do have AI. We do have the LLM of your choice that you feel confident in leveraging. So here's what I'm going to recommend for you. Upload this primary doc. Hey, AI, this is my entire work history. I'm applying to a role as a financial analyst. Can you please point out the things that are most relevant for that role in industry? Can you please highlight things that are not relevant for that role in industry? And so you can use that to maybe kind of get some pointers or some tips on like, oh, well, hey, Amy, your preschool teacher experience from 30 years ago, nobody cares. Take it off. We don't need that. Okay, fair enough. I think it's relevant for recruiting, but I might argue with ChatGPT. But you see where I'm going with this? Like, you can still leverage AI and kind of get some of those tips and guidance and maybe some tweaks, but do it in the frame of like, this is the industry, this is the role, this is the target. How do I stack up against that? Once you have those insights, you can again continue to refine, continue to edit, continue to format, kind of make it nice, make it flow based on what you want to highlight. You absolutely do that. You can also then take a job description. Hey, compare this job description to my newly formatted resume. Is there a fit? What am I missing? What should I highlight? The risk, and this is where I want you to be careful, you don't want to ask it like, what should be on my resume? Because then it's going to like hallucinate and give you a bunch of stuff that you don't have. And that's not good. But if you ask it to like really hone in on what is on your resume and help determine like this tracks, this doesn't, that makes sense. Hey, here's the job description. What am I missing? Now you can decide, can I really fill those gaps? You need to decide that. You cannot ask AI to decide that for you. You have to take a good hard look and use the brain God gave you to determine, hey, AI identified this gap. Can I realistically fill it with what I've actually done? If yes, amazing. We're going to edit that. We're going to make it nice. We're going to format it. We're going to make it pretty. We're going to send it out. All right? Write, edit, format. I cannot stress this enough. This is the order of operation, friends. Use that primary document so that you are not recreating everything from scratch over and over again. Nobody has time for that. I do not want you to do that. It is not a value add for 99% of us. So please do yourself a favor. Do future job seeker you a favor. Create that primary document. Use that as your starting point and make tailoring, check out the video above, make tailoring an easy, low-lift activity when you're ready to apply. All right, y'all. I hope that helps. As always, I appreciate you tuning in every week and watching these annoying videos. We had a raging fan in the comments last week. And we will see you next week.